Hey y'all, and welcome to episode 6. I thought I would not mention news items again so quickly after I had talked about them in episode 5. But I was wrong. Surprise, surprise. Most victims of Christian school are wrong sometimes. Not always. And sometimes we're afraid to be wrong because Miss Crabtree scarred us so. And one day I'll make a video about Miss Crabtree. And that name is also changed because I am protecting the innocent, me, for the most part, my friends, for the most part, and Miss Crabtree. That woman still gives me nightmares. I hadn't had to answer to her since I was in 5th grade, and I'm still scared of her. And I'm 40 years old. I'm just saying, that woman, that's scarring. That's why I think I like bright green instead of that dark scarring green. But anyway, I'm going to tell y'all about a news story I saw last night. And this is ridiculous. Ridiculous. I can't believe that people in the South, in Crestview, Florida, just an hour and a half drive away from my house, had to call the police on their own kids, asking them to discipline their children. Now, how in the world do you go from being a parent to calling the cops and saying, I can't discipline Johnny, I can't discipline Susie, I need you to come and do it? I can tell you one thing about their parenting skills. They never use one of these on Johnny or Susie's behind. Let me tell you, Rosa Jean can tell you some stories about wooden spoons and wooden spatulas. I never beat my child. Never would I ever beat my child. Never would I ever advocate beating a child. I do, however, advocate discipline. When Myrtle Jean was little, I had a wooden spoon. This is a wooden spatula because my wooden spoon, surprise, surprise, went missing. It was real pretty. It was a wooden spoon, and it had a smiley face on it. I mean, it was cute. And it fit in every purse I owned at the time. It might have gone to Goodwill in a purse I donated. Who knows? I haven't a clue. I do good to find my keys and my glasses sometimes. But, you know, the advantage of having children so far apart, Myrtle Jean is 8 years older than Bubba Ray. So when Bubba Ray came along, I started having an affinity for flip-flops. And I do. I have 17 or 18 pairs. You know, people are shocked when they find out I do own 2 pairs of closed-toed shoes. I don't wear them that much, except for when I'm volunteering somewhere that requires closed-toed shoes, which, you know, I don't really care for, but I understand that. But I will tell you the advantages of flip-flops. Flip-flops, a lot of times you can find they're inexpensive. Some, are expensive, but as a rule of thumb, I never pay over $40 for a pair of flip-flops. And that's at the high end. And they better be golden. I mean, golden. 14 karat gold. You know, gold field where they want to fit green. But, so when Bubba Ray was small, I discovered, thank you so much, Sissy, for letting me see you, with your girls. I discovered the advantages to using a flip-flop as a paddle. Okay. It's not as hard as the wooden spoon, so you don't risk marking the child, which I'd never have done. I mean, the little red marks have faded away, but never have I bruised a child. I mean, and I've always spanked them on their bottom or on their little hands. Or their legs, their little upper thighs. But, unless they're moving, because I know to move a target's kind of hard. But, getting back to spanking with flip-flops. You can wear them their shoes. All you got to do is slip them suckers off in the middle of the Piggly Wiggly and go to town on a youngin'. Bubba Ray can recommend the flip-flops you should get, the ones that hurt the worst and the ones that hurt the least. These are Corky's brand. He says Corky's and Yellow Box brand hurt the worst because they are more flexible. He says the Nike gel-filled, those gel cushiony flip-flops, he says their sole's too hard. It don't hurt a bit. It don't even, it's like a tap, a love tap. And it is a love tap because if you think about it, the Bible in Proverbs 13:24 says, spare the rod and spoil the child. And then in Proverbs 22, I've written it down, 6, it says, train up a child in the way he should go, and he will not depart from it. Okay, he may depart from it like a fork in the road, like when you're going and you're going the scenic route, but he'll join back to that road and go back to the Father as a usual thing if he was raised right, as a usual thing. Sometimes now it takes them a little while to get off that detour, especially if they were scarred by Christian school. Miss Crabtree, I know people besides me that are scared to death of her. I have very good friends that I've known since the 1st grade that are terrified of her. Myrtle Jane even notices if I see her in town, same woman, if she's in a uniform from the school I was victimized by when she was principal, and my 3rd grade teacher, in 4th grade too, I still don't understand. But, Myrtle Jane says, Mama, you walk different. You talk different. She said, but if you see her in civilian clothes, in regular plain clothes, you're okay. But if you see her in that uniform, and it's a wonder my favorite color is green. I don't like dark green. Anything darker than hunter green, ugh. And I think it's because I was emotionally scarred by Christian school. I think that's why I can't remember addresses of Bible verses I've known since I was an itty bitty girl, because I was scarred by Christian school. And there were some good people at my Christian school. Miss Sweetie Pie. And Miss Love. But Miss Crabtree, she scarred everybody I know. She's a sweet woman. But you put her in that dark green that make pine trees look pale. That woman still scars some people that are in their mid to early 40s. Y'all, that woman was mean. She was mean. She was mean. And I will talk more about being scarred by Christian school later in another video. But, can you imagine having to call the cops to discipline your 15-year-old child? And you know what? I think it's the parents. It's not all their fault, but a lot of it is because they did not expect and demand certain things from their children. And so when they got to expecting and demanding, their children rebelled. And I guess I'll call the Skinny County Sheriff's Office and see what that's all about. And one cop they interviewed said that he just told the mother to start parenting her child. And y'all, I don't want y'all to think I beat my children. I don't, because I don't. In fact, when Myrtle Jean was in the 6th grade, because she got to be taller than me, and it is awkward to spank a kid that's bigger than you. When she needed punishment, she had to write papers, and they were assigned papers just like you would assign essays in school. And I would grade them. And if they didn't make a certain grade, she had one chance to rewrite them or then she would have to give a privilege up, whatever that privilege would be, or do extra chores, or whatever. But y'all, spanking. I'm not saying spanking's right for every child, because timeout is right for some children where spanking is not. But I am saying that that children need discipline. That's how they learn you care about them. And if you don't discipline your child, you're saying, I love my child too much to discipline them. Look, a foremost authority on the disciplining of children, Dr. Spock, who wrote books. His son committed suicide because he didn't think anybody cared about him. And I'm not saying beat a kid, especially like Miss Crabtree did with that paddle that had holes drilled in it for aerodynamics. I'm saying find what works for your child, whether it be taking away playing baseball with his team for a week, or whether it be taking away going to a scouts meeting or a scouts camp out, or whether it be you can't watch TV or you're grounded from electronics. Discipline your children, because a world of undisciplined children is what prisons are filled with. Do you want that for your child? I don't want that for mine. And I'm sorry if I stepped on some toes. Well, I'm really not, because I don't want to have to deal with a whiny adult. Whiny children you can fix if you start young enough. But whiny adults you can't fix until they go to jailhouse. And then it's too late. Bye, y'all. I gotta finish getting ready to go to the Winn-Dixie.